Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. The new fusion event for Noldua the Gloaming started today, and in this video I'm going to take a look at everything you need to know about this fusion, including why you should actually start doing this tomorrow. First, thank you Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video and for giving me this wonderful promo link down below in the description there in the QR code. New account with Tholin Foulbeard after the tutorial, then Rector Drath, Venomage and Uugo, 3 top tier epics after that, so great start to Raid. Although if you're starting Raid right now, then you are a little bit late for this fusion event. You won't be able to complete this without spending a bunch of money, because you just won't get the necessary progress. But if you have been playing Raid for, let's say, 3 weeks or more, then this fusion becomes a more viable option. The Noldua fusion event runs from February 9th until February 24th, and this one is a Fragment fusion. And that means that there's going to be a bunch of events during this fusion, and you will get champion fragments from those. There are 130 champion fragments available, and you need 100 fragments to summon Noldua. And fragments never expire, which means that if you complete this event, you can summon Noldua after the event has ended. So you will be able to get points in a CVC tournament, or you will be able to get points in a champion chase, whatever you want. So you probably don't even want to summon Noldua immediately, but double dip and get some points in some event afterwards. But getting those 100 fragments, even though there's 130 available, is not trivial, because there's only 85 fragments from regular events. Then there's 20 from tournament top finishes, and that's going to be difficult, and sometimes it's going to be impossible. And sometimes you get lucky and it's going to be so, you never know. But there is no way to count on getting those 20, which means that then 85 from regular events, you're missing those 20. Well, the remaining 25 are from a Heroes Path event. And Heroes Path events are typically quite expensive, although there are some mitigating factors here, because that Heroes Path is going to replace a Summon Rush and up to 2 sets of Gear Hunters events. Unless one of those Gear Hunters events is going to be replaced by something that hasn't been announced yet. But at least one Gear Hunters event and a Summon Rush is going to be replaced by that Heroes Path, which makes it a little bit more affordable. Also, this is a Fragment fusion, and usually Plarium sells any missing fragments at $2 or 2.4 euros each in a bundle after the event has ended. So there's going to be a 24-hour bundle that's going to be sent and tailored to you, so that it offers you exactly the number of fragments that you are missing, up to 50, although 50 is already pretty expensive, that's $100. But if you're missing 5 or 10 or 15 fragments, then that can be an option. Note that all other events in this kind of fusion event scale based on your account level, except for that Heroes Path and the Champion Chase. So the events that require shards typically don't scale, so new accounts can actually complete many of these events quite easily, but then they will still often end up short because those shard events are crucial. Then let's take an in-depth look at the Fragment event calendar and see what you can do and how you can synergize here. So there's going to be only one Gear Hunters event. Gear Hunters events require quite a lot of energy, up to over 4,000 energy or almost 5,000 energy each. And typically you want them to overlap dungeon tournaments. So then you can do those dungeon tournaments and also get points for Gear Hunters at the same time. But this time it only overlaps the Ice Golem. It might overlap the Spider on Thursday for an hour or 2. That's possible, but not very probable. And we won't know until Wednesday when we see what time exactly the Spider tournament is going to start. But it does overlap the CVC. So CVC starts on Tuesday, and CVC is time when you want to do stuff. So you kind of don't want to get started with this Gear Hunters yet today. You want to do this on Tuesday together with the Ice Golem, and then you also have that Gear Enhancement event, so you can also do Gear Enhancement during CVC, and all of that is going to give you CVC points. Then there's that Spider tournament, which looks to be all alone right now. And then Champion Training and Champion Chase tournaments. And these are the tournaments that have extra fragments available from finishing at the top on the tournament leaderboard. And yeah, it's going to be hard or probably impossible, but sometimes you get lucky. And it's good that these events are pretty early in the event, because this way you will know if you have those extra fragments available, and then you can plan accordingly. Champion Training tournament requires some energy, maybe some brews. For the Champion Chase, every way to get champion counts. So if you can summon some fragments, it counts. If you fusion something, it counts, and you can of course also use shards, and you will need roughly around 100 ancient shards, for example, but you could use various other combinations as well, although ancients are typically the main thing that you use in the Champion Chase tournament. Of course, it also depends on if there's going to be some kind of an X2 event, so if you will be able to get more good stuff out of some shard type. But you would typically save sacred shards in particular for a summon rush or a hero's path. The fusion includes 3 gear enhancement events, that's pretty typical. It's roughly 20 million silver each if you are a bit of a higher level account, or something like 12-13 million for a newer account. But you will also gain a lot of silver during this event, so if you have something like 20 million in the bank already at the start of the event, you can earn the rest during these 2 weeks. There are also 2 classic arena tournaments, pretty easy. You just need to log in on a regular basis, so you will get those refreshes and then you will get those wins, and that's all it takes. They're really a measure of activity. Then there's this Fire Knight tournament, and that's also all alone like the spider, unless something new is going to be announced for something. The last day of the Fire Knight does overlap with champion training, so you might have some minor synergies if you want to wait for that one. And then the most interesting part of the calendar, which is that hero's path. And that adds quite considerable uncertainty on what is the real effort to complete this, because hero's path is typically quite expensive. However, in this case it does replace a summon rush, and it might replace up to 2 Gear Hunters events, because usually there's 3 Gear Hunters events in a fusion, but this time there's only 1. So either there's going to be something in the middle that replaces the other Gear Hunters, or there's going to be just this hero's path. And if you think about it, so that summon rush, like 6 sacreds, 2 Gear Hunters, that's almost 10,000 energy, then yeah, those probably are enough to get all the fragments from the hero's battle that you need. So you might turn out kind of cost neutral here, so that if there was Summon Rush and the Gear Hunters events, then it would actually take the same amount of energy and shards as the hero's path, but we have no way to know for sure. Also, there is the Dragon Tournament. You don't want to do the Dragon Tournament on Thursday, you want to start it on Friday with the hero's path, so you will at least get that overlap. And we don't have the exact point distribution for Hero's Path yet, although it usually does closely resemble the Gear Hunters or Dungeon Divers point distribution, which means that even Dungeon Stage 3 is going to be the best possible place to get points for this Hero's Path, most likely. And how many points exactly, we don't know at the moment. So armed with this information, what should you do? If you go for the fusion, you need to do some of the hero's paths. That is unavoidable unless you want to trust in getting that offer for fragments for real money at the end. And hero's path it's a threat, but it's also an opportunity. It may have some other good rewards, so that maybe you can double dip a little bit, so you get points for this event and you also get other stuff from hero's path. Typically, the paths during a fusion have souls as rewards, so no champions, but maybe some kind of soul is there. However, the paths are also often built so that the synergies between the fragments and the souls or other main rewards are minor, so that you have to go down one path in order to get the fragments, and you have to go down another path to get the soul, and there's only a limited amount of same path in those. So we just don't know yet. No, not that well. It's also uncertain whether the other Gear Hunters event is going to be replaced by something that's interesting, like a Deck of Fate maybe, although that would of course also be expensive and it wouldn't help with this fusion at all. Or if Hero's Path covers both of the missing Gear Hunters events. If it covers both, then you are quite close with the same expenditure that you would do in a Summon Rush and 2 Gear Hunters and getting the fragments from the path. So I kind of do like going for this fusion. It is a bit of a gamble without knowing if the hero's path is any good, but on the other hand, super champions are highly desirable. Noldua has the added bonus that Tholin the Gloaming is super good looking, so if you ever happen to get that, Tholin is a void legendary, so that might be kind of hard. But if you happen to get it, then having Noldua and then getting their synergies would be phenomenal for your account. So it's kind of easy to get Noldua right now, just in case you happen to pick up the partner later. Raid has a bunch of these partner champions that are really strong, and then usually one of them is quite easy to get, at least when they're announced, but not necessarily later, and the other is more difficult, so you kind of want to pick up the easy ones, so that then you will be ready in case you ever happen to get the other one. And then there is also the Fragment pack option. Raid usually sells them, and there's no reason why they shouldn't sell them again. Even though they don't announce them, they add a little bit more uncertainty here. So with real money, if the hero's path is too hard and you get close, then you still have this real money option available as well. So I do like Noldua. Super champions are undervalued, but super important for your account progress, and I'm definitely going for her myself. And I hope I will be able to pick up something interesting from the hero's path, although that is very, very uncertain. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.